Welcome everyone to the weekly media availability for UTSA men's basketball second-year head coach Austin Claunch. The Roadrunners finally had the breakthrough game that snapped their slump, and with a comeback victory at Charlotte on Sunday. Now the Roadrunners are into the final stretch with 5 regular season games and host a rematch with Florida Atlantic on Wednesday at the Convocation Center for Student Appreciation Night. On Sunday, the Roadrunners head to Tulsa. Coach Claunch, can you get us started with your thoughts on the Roadrunners last week out and what we're looking at with this week's games?
Yeah, I was really proud of our response. We kind of challenged ourselves after the North Texas game because, for the first time all year, like I said, felt like we just didn't necessarily compete the way we needed to, and that was out of character of us. And then, again, 2 games, 2 battles. I thought we played pretty well in Greenville. Just didn't make shots against East Carolina. And got ourselves in a hole that was tough to dig out of, but kept fighting. And then obviously, yesterday was an awesome moment for our guys to, break through and show that fight, being down double figures at the under 8. To come back and win against a really good team. Fern has those guys playing well near the top of the league. And for our guys to battle and, stay resilient and just make the plays at the end to win the game. Really, really happy for them. They deserve it. There's 5 games left in the regular season, like you mentioned, and we need to continue to play with this momentum and go get some more wins.
Coach Jerry is unavailable for today's conference, but he sends his best, and congratulations on the win. Michelle, go ahead and jump in with some questions.
All right. Congrats, Coach, and I hope you guys are doing well. Can you just talk a little bit about when you're down 13? What was the conversation like I think I saw that y'all had a timeout. Like, what was the conversation like, and how did they respond coming out of it?
Well, what was interesting is we sort of had a contentious timeout with a couple of our guys, who were, having a spirited debate about a play, and it was quick, and it was, to the point, and when it calmed down, I sort of said in the moment, I said, hey, sometimes you need some of that. I mean, you need that pride, you need that friction sometimes, and it was 2 of the guys that are the closest guys on the team, and kind of turned us up a little bit even more, right? And we came out of that huddle with just sort of a recharged, battery, and we're able to go on. That was the thing, is it happened pretty quick. I mean, I think we got it to 73-70 with probably 3:30 left. So, I mean, in that 4-minute span, we went on a pretty quick 16-0 run. In that huddle, it was just, again, there's, when you're down to what we're down to, we played 7 guys yesterday, and, L.J. Brown, obviously, a guy that has just worked his butt off to be, not just a player, but a good player, and a guy that's, going to be huge for us down the stretch. He's not a regular, what some people might think a walk-on. This is a guy that can play. And obviously for him to come in and, everyone scores in double figures, he's the one guy that doesn't. And the shot that he makes is probably the biggest shot of the game that gives us the lead for the first time in the second half. And then on the very next play, gets a deflection that goes off their guy, so it's our ball again. It was just a total team effort. Great huddles, great talk, and just, continued, just spirit throughout the course of the game. Staying with it, making tough plays. That's probably what I'm most proud of. Is I just thought we made a ton of tough winning plays and stayed together when it would have been really easy for us to fold.
Yeah, and for you to finally be on the other side of kind of forcing a comeback and coming out with a win, not coming up short, from the coaching standpoint, how do you think? How would you say it feels for you?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Obviously, our staff. We put a ton into this, and so do the guys. I couldn't be more happy for our players. For these young guys to, I've been a player before. We didn't have social media back when I played, and we'd go on. My first couple of years, we'd go on losing streaks, and then I can't imagine what these guys go through. From what they hear and what's on Instagram and Twitter and all this. These guys just have continued to work every single day and just be the same people. Not just this, not just their work ethic as players, but who they are. I've sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but who they are as people has made it really easy to come and give 100% every single day. And so this, obviously we knew at some point, we were going to, crack through. It's, and there's 5 games left, and we want to continue to finish this thing out the right way for the young guys that we have coming back, for our old guys like Jameer who have put everything in, to this season, and he's been hit with some body blows with guys being out, being a veteran that's leading a lot of young guys. I think he's done an incredible job in that regard. And so we're going to continue, today. We're off today. Got a big week ahead with FAU and Tulsa, 2 really talented teams, 2 teams that can really score the ball. So we've got to lock back in and understand what we need to do to go 2-0.
Yeah, and I saw that you guys have definitely been battling injury, to say the least. But I saw that there was even less availability in the last game. Like, who's going to be available for this one coming up?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the last 2 games, it was 8 guys. We played 7, 6 scholarship guys. And listen, it's can be a gift and a curse. You're obviously getting a foul trouble. There's fatigue that's that can set in. But I also thought we did a good job just with practice. Just shortening some things, being clean and clear on some things on both sides of the ball. And, you start to get into a rhythm. That is part of it too. I mean, you saw yesterday, obviously we had 6 guys in double figures. And guys are, play their way into a rhythm, and you start to develop some chemistry that way. And there's obviously a ton of belief between those 7 and 8 that are suited up. I think we suited up 8 yesterday. That's right. And we played 7. So, yeah, listen, we're going to keep fighting. We have enough. I've said that from day one. If we can get 5 guys out there, we believe we can go win games. And that's, obviously what our mantra is down the stretch here. Hopefully we can get a couple guys back. Obviously Austin's day to day, with his knee. Mo broke his finger in practice a couple weeks back. Had surgery. He wants to come back and play a couple. I don't know for sure how that will work. Dorian Hayes, day to day, he wants to play. That one, we'll see. Obviously, as a young guy, we're not going to bring him back until he's 100%. With the shoulder being something that's so, touch and go. So, that's the one thing is we're banged up, but we're not short on guys that want to get out here and play and compete with each other every single day. So, it's obviously not been the last 2 months that we've wanted, but like I said, we're not short on guys that want to come out and compete and finish the right way, so that they're part of the the foundation as we continue to build this thing.
Okay, what did you feel about your play from Akintobi? Is it Akintobi or Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel Akintobi.
Yeah,
really, really all week. I thought ECU, he really battled. ECU has a monster in there, and DA really battled him. And he's got incredible touch. DA has this physicality and motor that's combined with a feathery touch, and when he gets it from 4 or 5 feet, that's you can almost book it as 2 points. And I just thought he, even yesterday, Charlotte, they did a good job. They were really physical. And the way he started the game for us, I think he had 10-6 in the first half, or 10-3 in the first half. And just sort of was able to, they came out going. We were down 12-4 pretty quick. And he was able to kind of manufacture some 2s and layups that sort of kept us afloat until we got into a rhythm. So, yeah, I mean, his performance all week was really big, and we're going to need him. Again, with the shortened bench, yeah, we're gonna need him to continue to do that. And this week will be another tough challenge with 2 good front courts.
And then Kofi as well. He had some valuable minutes for you. Against Charlotte. I guess we're still relying heavily on him as well. Was he injured at all this year?
No, he's been. I think for Mateo, it's just been an adjustment with college basketball, coming over from France and just a different style, different physicality. Really, really challenged him this week on just, his physicality, and because he's a good athlete, he's strong, he's gaining weight. He's another one that's, a lot of people talk about Caden and Dorian as freshmen, but Mateo's technically also a freshman. As an international player, just a little bit older, but this is a guy that's going to continue to grow and get better. And he's a good shooter. I think at times he wants to make the play for someone else so bad that he's passing up his own shots. I think he's up to 44% from 3 in league or something close to that. And he's a good shooter. We need him to shoot open shots. And the play that kind of started the run, maybe not started it, because I think Jameer actually drove it and sprayed it to Caden Rayfield for an open three that kind of started the run. And then 2 plays later, Jameer did the exact same thing and gives it to Mateo, and he shoots another open three. 2 big second half threes for Mateo. He's got to continue to grow with that confidence, to shoot open shots and impact the game, because he can score. He can score it at the rim, and he can make open shots, and this team needs him to do that.
And then Brent Moss, obviously, we saw streaks of what he can do earlier this year. Now, with the bench being so depleted, we're seeing him kind of step into his form.
Yeah, I think, that's sort of been the story of the year, is just how Brent continues to grow and get comfortable. And he's not just getting more chances, he's earning more chances. He works. He's one of the hardest workers on the team. Incredible teammate, the way he, empowers guys and wants to see others succeed. He's really growing, in that leadership role as well. And then I think, you're seeing his rebounding, his defense is continuing to get better. And just the more he's on the floor, the better he's going to be and the better your team's going to end up being. And I think you've seen that, and yesterday was sort of the culmination of that.
Can I didn't see the game, but when y'all have this lineup, I guess DA's 5, Kofi's 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to visualize where we're going. Okay, and then for FAU, how are we preparing for Dallas?
Yeah, listen, really, really good offensive team. They play the fastest tempo in the league. They've lost a couple in a row right now. They've had some injuries and some close games. Lost an overtime game yesterday. There's a lot of firepower there, and we've got to really be clear on personnel. We've been mixing up defenses a little bit, and I think that's been okay for us. But yesterday, to be honest, our offense really pushed us through. The defense in the last 8 minutes obviously came alive there, and we made some really tough plays. We rebounded and we turned them over. That's got to continue to be a theme for us. Finding ways to disrupt Florida Atlantic. They're going to score. They're going to make some shots. But obviously, we've got to find ways to impact the ball, get deflections, and get steals, so that we're also creating easy offense for us.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Yep. No problem.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll be back next week after we face off with the Owls and the Golden Hurricane. Thank you again, Coach, for taking time.
Thanks, y'all. Birds up.